Well, greetings. Let's look at the purpose of food. And well, there are all kinds of purposes. You're hungry, you want that sensation changed, you're being sociable, you've got some big emotion that you need to comfort, and food will do that. And that is something that food does. But there's a purpose. There is a purpose, a biological imperative. And that is to get nutrients into your bloodstream. And that tells you that the kind of food that we should be eating, generally speaking, is the sort of food that has the highest amount of available nutrients. So a formula, I think it's Joel Fuhrman, the Eat to Live guy. His formula is nutrient dense, calorie poor. A lot of nutrition and not too many calories. And if you want to get enough calories, then you have to eat more highly nutritious food. And that's going to be plant-based. I probably will go into that, maybe not right now, but we'll see. There are at least 40,000 phytonutrients, plant nutrients. And those are the ones that have been identified and named, bioflavonoids and lignans and just the whole array that, you only know those names because you've got an issue or because you want to be impressive with how many words you know. Nothing wrong with that, but not practicably useful. Plants, the number varies, depends on when you read it and what the source is. And I've read 20,000, I've read 40,000. I don't know. I didn't do the counting, but a lot, more than you are likely to count or to know. Animals have about 100 zoonutrients, and you are an animal. Chances are that you would supply those nutrients to something that ate you. So the way I look at it is animal products are supplements. You're supplementing what you already have. Now that's controversial, and not that anybody would argue about it, but it's a different view, it's a different approach. Not important. What's important is you need to get what you need. What is a nutrient? What's a definition of a nutrient? And, well, lots of ways we could go with that, but an easy one to kind of grasp is a nutrient is something that you need. You need it. Well, what's its name? I don't know what its name is. Well, where do I get it? I don't know where I get it, but I need it. Well, how do I get it then? And the answer is to eat as wide a variety, reasonably, of foods, as many colors, as many flavors, as many textures, as many aromas, as many qualities as you can reasonably get. And I continually add reasonably because you can become neurotic about it. There's something called orthorexia, and orthorexia is like anorexia. No appetite, anorexia. Orthorexia, the perfect appetite. And it's not a good thing. You want to have reasonably good nutrition. And by reasonably, I mean like very, very logically reasonably, legitimately reasonable. I've spoken with people and, I try to eat very clean. Well, what does that mean? I still don't know what that means. I mean, you hear it, but it doesn't really click with me, clean. And there's a whole books on the subject, but it's not a metaphor that resonates with me. What I like is the idea of getting as many nutrients as you can reasonably, and that's going to be a grazing approach, a little of a lot of things. There's something called mono meals. I'm going to eat only peaches today, and it's a thing. It's probably a way of sort of giving your system a rest, something very easy to digest, and then it's almost a fast because you're only getting one pretty limited, maybe excellent, but limited source of nutrients. And then the other way to go is you have so much. Your salad has so many different things in it, or your stew or your entrees have so many things in it. Well, yeah, you are getting a lot of nutrients, but it's that much more to digest. The way I look at it, look, what is taste for? What are taste buds for? Well, the moment you taste sweetness, your brain somehow knows to put out insulin because sweetness is coming. And that's one of the problems with artificial sweeteners. It tells your brain calories are coming, but they're not. And now you increase your insulin, but there's no extra calories. So you've taken calories that you needed out of your bloodstream. Your taste buds do that. And there are also receptors further down that play in this. The reason I'm saying this is your taste buds they analyze. They tell your brain and your digestive tract. There's some very interesting stuff about that, the vagus nerve, and how there's not a huge connection between your brain and your digestive tract, your enteric system, the second brain. It operates on itself. And I will say, you have more neurons in your gut than you have in your brain. Your gut uses more serotonin, more neurotransmitter than your brain does. And that's pretty unusual. That's kind of interesting. The easy lesson there is that digestion is very complicated. I use the example, it's like calculating the orbit of Neptune. Pretty sophisticated math. You've really got to know what you're doing. Well, my brain doesn't know how to do any digestion. It's not in charge of digesting. My gut knows. My enteric system knows how to do the digesting. Reason I'm saying this is if I have a very complex meal, my analogy is you're doing very complex math. And you can do that if you're sharp and if your calculator is working properly, then it works. But maybe you're debilitated, in which case all of that work, all of those different kinds of cells that are required to digest all these different kinds of foods. So my point is there needs to be a certain simplicity in the food you eat. Is there a top limit of the varieties of food per meal? I don't know. Nobody knows. Nobody's ever asked that question before. So what's reasonable? Well, that's the number. So how many kinds of berries do you want in your berry smoothie? Because there's more than just the easy frozen ones. There's goji and hawthorn and mulberry. Oh, I said that. No, I didn't. Just any number of exotic berries. And do you need all of them all at once? Do you need, I want this meal to be perfect. Well, perfectly simple is good. So there's a reasonable limit. This is why I say you don't have to have everything. All right. So the purpose of food is to get a broad spectrum of nutrients into your body. And then you need to digest it. What is a nutrient? It's whatever your body needs in this context. Well, what's that? It doesn't matter what it is. People got scurvy not because they didn't know what vitamin C was. They weren't getting it. And if you don't have scurvy, yeah, it's because you're getting a vitamin C. It doesn't matter whether you know why or not. It doesn't even matter. You have scurvy, you need vitamin C, you've never heard of vitamin C, but you know that this kind of food, limes in the historical case, cures it. Why? They didn't know, but it worked. That's the approach, to operate out of the system, out of the assumption that we have to know everything. Well, I'm kind of that guy, or I used to be. I wanted to know all the reasons. And I've relaxed about that. First, because it's finally a little bit of marginal humility. Keep it simple. So, as much as you're able, as wide a variety as is sensible of easily digestible food. So there's a point where it's too easy to digest. And so you take a potato, and how you cook it determines how good or how bad it is, relatively speaking, for you. If you bake it, it spikes your blood sugar. If you boil it, it doesn't. It does less. The higher the temperature is, what's going on there? The higher the temperature is, you say I'm very vigilant, and for no reason, just I have active eyes. The higher the temperature, the simpler the sugar. The heat broke down the sugar, so now you've got a lot of sugar in your bloodstream all at once, rather than slower. Slower is better. So when I say you want it to be digested, yeah, but with an eye toward health. So how do you practice this? Salads and stews and whatever mechanism you can get a pretty reasonable wide variety of plant materials, basically. I say occasionally, maybe more than occasionally, I've been vegetarian my entire adult life, and well, big deal. So what? I will say the religion of vegan. In the old days, it was vegan. And I refused to say vegan, because that's not how it's spelled. It shouldn't be that way. But eventually you conform. The point is, real vegetarian is effectively vegan, and so I call myself. Excuse me. I call myself vegetarian, whole other, and pretty important topic. But I'm absolutely not vegan. Effectively, you wouldn't really know the difference, but there's something, there's a little bit of I think it's imbalance in that, should I say cult? Would that be rude? Is that you? Don't mean to hurt your feelings, but a little more balanced, I think. Being real vegetarian is extreme enough, and I started before it was a thing. It was, in those days, there weren't, it's very rare, not at all common. It was a thing, yeah, but not so much. I'm talking about this because the best source of nutrients is plant materials. It's the primary source. It's from sun and soil to you. Any animal product is filtered. Now, that's not necessarily a bad thing. Omega-3 fish oil, the fish took the ALA, this fat, and its liver turned it into omega-3. It did the work. Now, if you use omega-3 oil, then the fish did the work for you, so it's much more efficient. If you're using ALA, which is the precursor, your liver has to do the work to change it into omega-3, which you can then use. And the problem is, how healthy is your liver? Is it healthy? I don't know. Maybe you don't know. Maybe having an American lifestyle has done a lot of damage to your liver and you don't even know about it. The rule of thumb, I don't know if it's true or not, it's what they say, it's what you read, is omega-3 is 10 times more available than ALA. The process is that much more complicated of your liver. It's not a tablespoon of flaxseed oil will give you a tablespoon of omega-3. It's 1/10 of that, of whatever's available there. So that's a consideration, and it's to be true to your philosophy. Well, that's a good thing if you've got a sensible philosophy, but there's diminishing returns, and there's a cost benefit. And one of my little jokes is that, vegetarian, but I assure you that if I were on the desert island, I would be eating the tortoises. I would eat the last dodo bird if it was me or the dodo bird. No, that's not right. Oh, you're a monster. Regardless, I would do that. And Galapagos tortoises, they better watch out, because it's me or them, as it were. Now that's a fantasy situation, but it establishes me as the top of the food chain. It isn't bears and cougars and lions, it's me. I don't think I wouldn't want to eat a lion meat, but they're not going to eat me if I have the choice. And I'm vegetarian for a number of reasons, but one of them is not so much, but the ethical aspect of it. But it's I have a soft heart. I have a tender heart. I kill vermin. I'll kill black widows. I'll kill flies. I'll kill cockroaches. I'm not going to kill general spiders or crickets, so I just put them outside. Now, isn't that sweet? It's like Ulysses S. Grant, very tender-hearted guy, effectively vegetarian. He was the horse whisperer. He was fantastic with horses. And I'm saying this because Ulysses S. Grant, that butcher, oh no, he wasn't a butcher, he was a man who got the job done. Good for him. Shorten the war, win the war. But war is bad. Yeah, war is bad. So don't do it. But when you have to do it, win it. And I'm saying this because, you can be tender-hearted and still get the job done. Whatever that, you can have iron in your soul and also some tenderness. A little bit of a discursion there. So I prefer not to eat dead things. I prefer not to, create a need for death. And that's a, very vegetarian-y way to say it. But the point is, put all of that aside, because that's not top of the list. Maybe it is, but not biologically. At top of the list biologically is provide your body with what it needs to perform optimally. And that's going to be whatever the nutrients are. And the easiest, best source of that wide variety of nutrients is plant material. Some other time, we'll talk about processed food. Right now, it's about the raw materials. Yeah. So that's enough for now. Have a great day.